Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you with a terrifying weekend figure review. Today we are going over the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, the Batman Who Laughs. And I'm so excited to go over this figure. I love that when they did this design for him, that he reminds me so much of Pinhead from Hellraiser. And the packaging here just looks so great, guys. I'm sure I just said that, but I'm just too stoked. Speaking of which, if you want to pick up your own copy, first, as I always say, check with your local comic shop and see if they can order it for you. If not, then I see that it is available on Big Bad Toy Store and Dorkside Toys. So there's some options if you don't have that type of store or, a local comic shop in your area. So you see that you get the collect to build Batmobile side here, which is really, really cool. We'll go over the accessories here in a minute. Love the logo here, how it says like that, and then it says the Batman Who Laughs. 22 McFarlane Toys. Come around here, you see that you can see the other side of the Batmobile there. Get the McFarlane Toys there. Come around to the back. Shows the cover that this is from, which is the Batman Who Laughs #1, which if you guys have not read that, definitely a great series. You see the other figures from the line, so I'll make sure to get a close-up of that so you can get a closer look at which figures you want to pick up to build the Batmobile. Come around this way, and I love how they add this big, the Batman Who Laughs. So when these are on a peg, you can kind of see which ones you want. McFarlane Toys there. Come back around this way. You see Mr. Pointy Ears and his nth metal mask there on the top. Come around to the bottom. All the legal mumbo jumbo and what I paid for. Who cares? But what we do care about is this creepy Bruce Wayne, an awesome figure or not. So let's go ahead and get Batman out of the packaging and look at how terrifying he is up close. Here is the Batman Who Laughs out of his packaging and looking both absolutely amazing and terrifying all at the same time. I fell in love with this figure the moment I saw it at GameStop. That's where I picked mine up. And yeah, I don't know. He's one of those characters that I feel like shouldn't have worked, but it did. And that's always a great thing when you're thinking, how could they make a Batman that's a villain that everyone enjoys? But I think it's because of that is what makes the Batman and all the other subsequent Dark Knight Metal Batman work, because it just shows what happens when Batman goes too far. And this figure just looks great. And I'm glad that he was the leader of the bunch, especially looking like a little bit like one of the Hellraiser characters. And I think that's what really made it interesting all the same, because it has all the Joker look and he has the nth metal mask on his face and just the lack of the eyes. I think that's what works the greatest too, is because we really have like an absence of the eyes, and that's what makes this character so dreadfully scary and yet awesome. And of course the creepy teeth. So with that said, let's get him off the stand here and let's get a closer look at the Batman Who Laughs. Now before we get into the Batman himself, let's look at these neat little accessories he comes with. So they're not a whole lot, but they're still cool nonetheless. So the first one, I like to call this a scythe. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I know a scythe's supposed to be bigger, like what the Grim Reaper rocks, but it has that same kind of blade, you know what I mean? And what I really, really like about these is the imperfections. I mean, look at the dings. Let me see if I can get a closer focus for you guys. So it just has an imperfect look, which to me I like to call corrupted, since this Batman is corrupted. And all the brown dry brushing on there just looks so great. And I love that ding right there. Just really all these little imperfections, especially like on the hilt, or on the handle, should I say, how it just looks like a piece of wood was slapped in there and then just electrical taped together. Just great stuff. And I mean, look at that. It looks like it's been weathered and just ran through the mill. The one I like better, personally, this looks like a meat cleaver to me, so I call it the cleaver. But look at all the little dings, and you see a little bit of silver, and then you get that light dry brushing there again. And the same thing with the handle, where it just looks like it's been willy-nilly together. And even as you go along the backs here, just look at all those little dings and imperfections just really rotting, just like this Batman. Great stuff overall. And it's not too sharp, so you don't have to worry about stabbing yourself, you know what I mean? Now, the other things that the Batman Who Laughs comes with, on his card what's inside the box is a trading card and a stand. Now, like I was saying with the Dawnbreaker, I don't like to try to cut those things out because it always ends up damaging the box. Like when I was trying to take out that flying stand, I damaged the box on the outside because you can't really get your hands in there. So I wish that they would find a way where you don't have to worry about damaging the box for us collectors. You know what I'm saying? But on the back of the card, it reads, "Born from the nightmares of the Dark Multiverse, The Batman Who Laughs is a hybrid version of the Batman and the Joker from Earth, -22. The twisted version of Batman was created when nanotoxins from the Joker's heart was released into Bruce Wayne's bloodstream, causing the Dark Knight's perfect mind to merge with the warped psyche of the clown Prince of Crime. He soon became a part of an attempt to plunge the entire multiverse into ultraviolence, chaos, and utter darkness. After being initially defeated, the Batman Who Laughs managed to survive and remains a threat to the greatest heroes of the multiverse. So that's a really good sum up if you've never read the story. Now, speaking of backstories, now that we've kind of gone over all that, the Batman Who Laughs' first appearance is Teen Titans number 12, which was part of the Metal tie-in. A lot of people, there's differing ideas. Like some people will say it's the Dark Days of the Casting number 1. But just like with the other Batman, those were just cameo appearances. So the first full where he's revealed and you kind of get some ideas about him is that book. Now, as we were just talking about in the Batman Who Laughs number 1 one-shot, as said, the Joker finally pushes Batman over the edge. Batman kills the Joker. And as I said, he was infected with that nanotoxin, and he eventually becomes this nightmare incarnation that we see before us. And he kills off the whole Bat family. He kills off Lois, Superman. It's a twisted story. I did a review over it, so make sure I'll put the little card up here so you guys can click it and check out the comic review on that. With that out of the way, let's take a look at this absolutely amazing figure. And the one thing that I liked when I first saw this Batman introduced was this Hellraiser mask. This right here is called Metal, which is the same stuff that's made out of Hawkman's mace. And again, just like with his weapons, just look at the dry brush in here where it's like an imperfect mask. You kind of see that brown dry brushing, as I call it, or you can call it a brown wash, whichever one suits you. But yeah, it just really adds, and as I was saying, the absence of the eyes is what makes it terrifying. But what really helps exacerbate that same idea is you kind of see where you can kind of see the emotions in the mask, where like he's kind of grimacing. And then, of course, the nightmare Joker grin. And I'm really glad that they made sure to add that really dirty, nasty teeth in there. And the same thing with the lipstick where it's imperfect. That's what I like about this, is all the little imperfections is what makes this thing perfect to me. And then you get the white chin here with that elongated chin for the Joker, which really helps. I like this collar, the way it pops up. Got all like the 1980s style going on, so we got some 80s horror. And then the shoulder pads are really nice. It's like a really flimsy plastic, so you can kind of manipulate it. Same thing with the collar and the horns. And I just like how it goes all the way around. Same thing here. It really looks like something like Pinhead would bring from that little box, you know what I'm saying? And then of course you come around to the chest. I like all these little metal straps. And what's cool is when you read the comics, they always, like each person's interpretation of him, he always looks very elongated like a demon. It's really, really creepy. I like all these silver buckles, and then just the attention to detail here where the straps would go and how they just kind of flare off here. And I love all these ripples. That helps so much with the figure. Like the straps on the wrists. That looks great. The white skin on the hands are great. The only thing about the accessories and like white gloves, and this is kind of the same thing with Gwenpool, is it starts to rub off on the hand. So if you guys know how to kind of get that off, let me know, because I'm worried about using like rubbing alcohol because I don't want to damage my figure. I like the way the cape here flares out on the bottom. And again, just look at all these like little scratches and dings. That imperfection is just really helps. And I like how it flares off of him and out, kind of like the Crow. Really good stuff there. All these ruffles in the back. I like that paramilitary look on the legs. Same thing on the boots, where these kind of look like boots that I bought at Hot Topic a long time ago. I like the laces there. And then here, you'd think that maybe they'd add some silver dry brush or some brown, but I really feel like that would really take away from it. So I'm glad that they left it black. It really helps with the whole motif. And I like the little studs, and of course all the treads here, so you get kicked in the face. That's gonna hurt. The buckle across the foot, nice stuff there. Same on this side. I really like those buckles. So overall, guys, This Batman Who Laughs is such a great character. I'm glad that I found him at GameStop because, yeah, I haven't seen him since. So if you guys see this figure, definitely grab him. Now, the articulation on this character is not too bad. There's a couple of things that kind of suck, but will suck. I guess I could say bites in a better word. But let's start with the head. So even though he has all this stuff going on, you can get the head to look down about that much. And then because of the mask here and the coat, you got to be a little careful. But you can get, because you can kind of move, you know, he's on a rocker, so you can get the head to look up about that much. That's not too bad with all these clearance issues there. So that's really, really cool. And then, of course, he has a little bit of spinning here. He's not, like I said, he's on a rocker, so you can get a lot of head motion like that. And then just be careful turning his head because you don't want to break the collar, but he can turn that much. And then get the head here, turn it that way. Good stuff there. So great head articulation. Now the arms can go out that much, and then if you turn it, again, be careful on the plastic there, but you can get it up that high, 360. He has the upper bicep cut, double jointed elbows, so that's good. I'm glad that they're really starting to learn from that and getting away from the single jointed elbowness. Now his wrists, they can spin 360. Now, just like with the Batgirl, you have to be careful. You got to focus on it. He does have these ball joints. These are a little frustrating because you have to make sure that these line up correctly so that you can do, and of course it's all blurry. I apologize for that. So you can do that. And that, so it's got a good range. Just be ever so careful with those ball joints. They are a pain in the butt. Now for the ab crunch. Sorry, let me smack my camera there. He can go about that far down and then about that far back, which I really like. And what I like about this figure too is they hid all the articulation under the plastic. So like, you know, some characters where you see that obvious ab crunch, I'm glad that they hid that. And then you kind of get up under the coat so we can do that. Yeah, they click. You just got to be careful, as usual. And he twists that much, so that's a really good waist thing. And he's got a little bit of a bend to him there, too, so that's cool. Now, the legs can go out about that much. And then if you fight the coat, about that much. Double jointed knees. Now, with the feet, they can go up that much and about down that much. And he does have a little bit of an ankle pivot. You just have to be careful. And just like I was saying, he's on his ankles here. Just like with his hands, he's got a ball joint. And see how this one's kind of mixed. You have to kind of mess with it there and mess with the foot so that you can get the right pivot. So that's kind of frustrating. I don't like those ball joints for that reason. And then, of course, the feet here, which I like because this doesn't look like with his early work. It doesn't look like it's taken away. So, you know, you want to do some walking poses. That really helps in that regard. So other than the ball joints, which I hate how they move independently of the hand because it really makes it frustrating, I can let that go. Overall, absolutely amazing articulation. For comparison, here are the other two figures that we've already gone over. Here is the Dawnbreaker and the absolutely beefcake amazing Devastator. And because these are all from McFarlane Toys, they scale very well. Both of these are around the 7-inch mark. He's around, I think, 8.5, I think, somewhere in there. Let me know down in the comments. I don't like breaking out the ruler. That's just, no, it just takes too much time. But as you can see, as we start to get these Dark Knight metal Batman, they are so comic accurate. It is insane. I'm just so glad that I was able to get my hands on both of these characters, and I'm glad that when I saw this one, I thought about it. I'm like, well, do I really need another figure? And I'm glad that I did, because now that I've purchased him, I have never seen him in stores since, like at comic shops, Walmart, nowhere. So that is something special. And he's the one that kicked it off, which makes sense, as he's the one that recruited all these characters. But yeah, guys, as we can move forward and get more of these Dark Knight metal Batman, oh man, I can't wait till I get the whole army. Speaking of which, coming up soon will be the Grim Knight and the Murder Machine, and I can't wait till the Groblin comes out and the Drowned and all its good stuff. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, guys, these are definitely characters. If you're a Batman fan like myself, definitely pick these up and get them in your collection before they disappear for good. Overall, guys, I absolutely love this Batman Who Laughs. McFarlane really knocked it out of the park with this character. Yeah, there are a couple of things that kind of chap my butt, and it kind of goes back to the same thing with the Dawnbreaker and the Batgirl. From the Dawnbreaker point of view, is he doesn't have a boot cut or an upper thigh cut, which would have really helped in terms of posability, because there's some poses that you want to do, and because you can't get his legs to twist, it's just sort of like crud, you know what I mean? However, that aside, and it's still beautiful. And then from the Batgirl point of view, he has those ball joints in his legs and his hands. So you got to be really careful when you're twisting it to make sure that the ball joints line up correctly. So I kind of hope that they figure those out. They're not as bad as like the old Toy Biz Marvel Legends. Those were kind of frustrating, especially the Sabretooth. But I can forgive all that because this is a very, very well sculptured figure and just very nigh comic accurate, you know what I mean? So yeah, great paint apps, beautiful figure overall. I have to give this thing a 9 out of 10. You know, I love to give it a 10 out of 10, but because you can't twist his legs, that's my biggest complaint about this figure. Now, for these chains, if you guys want something like this, I found this in Walmart in the craft section. These are the chains that you use to make like necklaces and bracelets and whatnot. So if you guys want something on the fly to kind of, you know, make your Batman Who Laughs looks a little more fancy, then that may be the route that you can go. And that's what's great about doing action figure photography, is it gives you a chance to be creative. Now, if you've enjoyed this figure, please first and foremost check with your local comic shop and see if they can order it for you. If not, then you know you can go to the other places that I mentioned earlier in the review. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little bat bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love to hear your feedback and just talk with y'all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So stand by, photo slideshow coming up next. And with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.